Well, hello again. It's been a while. I'm sorry for my disappearance. I was actually studying. In case you don't know, I'm studying a PhD in Columbia University here in New York, and I've been studying for the last months, and it's been super intense. But I finally finished my semester. I gave all my papers, and I just finished my finals, and that's done. So at least this semester is finally finished and I can concentrate a little bit more on making videos and coming back to you guys. So thank you for waiting. Since you already read the title of the video, here it is. I'm gonna show you all the cameras that I have. I'm gonna go one by one, tell you all the cameras. Oh man, it's gonna be super long. I'm gonna show you all the cameras that I have and why I like them. I'm not gonna make a review super in detail, camera by camera, but at least I'm gonna show you all the things I have and why do I have one camera and then I have another one and what's the difference between one and the other. All right, so I'm gonna start on this first shelf and then I'm gonna go for the second shelf. I hope you're fine with that. There's no specific order. I'm just gonna go and grab the cameras in the same order that are on my shelves. First off, this is an Isika N8000. I've shot 2 or 3 episodes with this camera. It's a camera I barely ever use, and it's a weird camera because I purchased it for $20 a few years ago, like 5 years ago or something, and it's been skyrocketing in price, and nowadays you have to pay like $150, $200, even $300 for this camera, which is absolutely insane. I purchased it for $20 and I felt like it was a bit expensive for the price. So I can't imagine paying $300 for this thing. It's a plastic camera, it's super simple. There's not much to it. You just take a picture and it will take 4 images and then you can compose all the images into a GIF. And then you can do whatever you want. Post it on Tumblr if that's your thing. I don't know how to post them on Instagram. I've never done it. A lot of people write me about that. Please don't. I have no idea. You can change the aperture, but it's not really too big of a difference between one and the other. And the speed, if I'm not mistaken, is fixed, so the shutter speed is just 1 and the same all the time. It's a very limited camera. It's not a camera that I truly enjoy. It's not a camera that I use a lot. I've used it a couple of times. I think it's a good party camera. If you're gonna have a party in your house or you're gonna go to a party, you can put a flash on top of it and take some pictures. That's how I met this camera. The first time I ever saw one of these was at a party, and the party images are pretty cool because you can throw confetti and then it just freezes on the image and it moves around. It's pretty cool. But as a camera to go around or like use for your vacations or to be your main camera, nah, not really. It's a fun gimmicky camera, but it's not something I would die for. Next on the list, it's my Riflex 2.8E. It's a camera that I enjoy using a lot. It's currently, if not my favorite camera, easily on my top 3. This is a camera that I enjoy a lot using. It's super fun. The meter is not really working properly. It was at one point, but now it's kind of dying. But I don't use it with the meter. I just measure the light with an app and then I just transfer the information to the camera. It's a really fun camera to use. It's just really comfortable. What I like the most about it is the form factor. It's super compact. I can carry it around and it's fine. And it just delivers amazing pictures. I had, as you know, a Mamiya C330, and that was also an amazing camera, but I just decided to stick to this one because of the form factor. Even though I can't really take super close-up portrait shots, I discovered that I don't really take that many super close-up portrait shots at all. So this was the perfect camera for me, and since I travel a lot, it's a good travel companion. So, great camera. Another camera for traveling light, this is the Mamiya 6. It's a foldable camera, as you can see. You can carry it on your pocket. It's super easy to use. You just use rolls of 120, and whenever you're ready to shoot, you open it up, and then you take a picture, and that's, you cock the shutter, take a picture, and then just advance it. That's basically it. It's super simple. It's a great camera. The lens is good, but it's not as good, of course, as the Riflex. This camera is really good for things that are close to you, or like at mid-range, portraits, I don't know, street photography in general. But if you're gonna take like landscape shots, or you wanna take like things that are on the horizon, at least my model is not really good at that. It's not a horrible camera for that, but there are better options, and I'd rather use my Riflex than this one. So I use it, but I don't use it as much. As a foldable camera, it's a great camera though. Next up, one camera that a lot of you love and or are interested in, and it's the Xpan. This is the first model, is the Xpan 1. I've never had an Xpan 2 on my hands, but it's basically the same as the Fuji TX. It currently has film, so I'm not going to be able to show you how it sounds, but I have several videos about this camera, so you can find them really easily on my channel. It's another one of my top 3 cameras. This and the Riflex are like one of my favorite cameras by far. I love the format of the Xpan. I enjoy using it. The metering on the Xpan is just always spot on. One thing that I'm not really comfortable, and I've never been able to be comfortable, is taking pictures with this camera. I always feel like what I'm composing sucks and the image is gonna look terrible. And then when I develop the film, it actually looks pretty cool. So I have this weird feeling with the Xpan that every time I use it, I'm a horrible photographer, and every time I develop the pictures, I'm like, oh wow, that was really good. I'm proud of myself. So I live in this ambivalence with the camera. Right now they're around for, I'm not sure, but they have become super expensive. I've seen this camera for $2,500 or $3,000. That's crazy. That's a lot of money. I purchased this one back in 2011 probably, so the price was not the same as it is now. It was expensive nevertheless, but not as expensive as it is now. So I don't know, man. This is one of my favorite ones. Next up is the Olympus MJU2. This is the famous camera. It's like pocket size, and it has the 35mm 2.8 that everybody says is such an amazing lens. It's a good camera, it's a fun camera. I have not yet shot an episode with it. I enjoy this camera, but not as much as I thought I would. This camera is Fran's camera. I purchased it for my wife, and she uses when we go on vacations or when there's like a party and there's like friends. This is the camera we use when we want to have some kind of easy memories and not use the cell phone. Like when I have a lot of film at my disposal, because I have a lot of rolls and I can shoot a lot, and then I can develop, so the cost is not really high at all. So we use this camera for, I don't know, taking our memories and just having fun and taking pictures of friends. And then these are the kind of pictures that if there's 1 or 2 good in a row, there's like, it's an okay mission. We don't need to have like 10 or 20 good pictures in one roll. So this is more like we use it as a point and shoot for family memories, and that's pretty much their function. I know there's some other photographers who find like this is the ultimate pocket camera. I don't know, man. I like it, but it's not, it doesn't blow my mind, and it's not like, oh my God, you need to buy it. No, I mean, it's okay and I like it, but it's not on my top list. Another camera, this is the Lomo LC Wide. I have talked about this camera before. I made a video about it, and I also shot it in Japan. And I mentioned something that is not trivial, and is that the viewfinder over here, it works, but it's not really, it doesn't feel like a 17mm, it feels more like a 19 or 20mm. So what I use is I attach this 15mm viewfinder, and then I have a better understanding of what will be on frame, more or less. So I tend to use it with this external viewfinder that I purchased on eBay. It's fun and it's good to use it, but it's not an all-around camera. It's not a camera that I'm like, oh, I'm going on vacations, I'm just gonna take my Lomo LC Wide. The wide angle point of view, it's really nice, but after a while, if you don't actually try new things or take photos of things up close, it starts looking kind of gimmicky. So it's a fine camera and it's an interesting one, but I think it really shines when you're like on parties or you're like with friends, or you can take images of people up close. So you have 2 choices. This is it's not like you have 2 choices, but this is the way I see it. It's not an all-around camera, but if you're a really brave street photographer and you don't mind like going up close to your subject, meaning like 1.5 meters tops, and you can be up close, this camera will give you really nice results. It's a good camera, not one of my favorites, but it's a really fun and interesting camera. Next up, another one of my top 3. This is the other top 3, is my Leica M3. Right now I have it with the 28 Summicron. I really love this lens. It's probably my favorite lens, I would say. I love that this is going to be counterintuitive, but I love that in the Leica M3 I have to use the external viewfinder, because I really like this viewfinder. It's from the same guy who made the 15mm viewfinder. It's this guy on eBay. I'm gonna try to leave the link in the description, so in case you're interested. I've taken countless rolls through this camera, and it's always been there for me. It's a great camera. It's a workhorse and it works perfectly. I love that it has cloth shutter, so it's ultra silent. Every time I get tired of 35mm, I'm like, why do I have 35mm cameras? I would just use my Xpan. I don't really need 35mm. Then I use my Leica again, and I'm like, yeah, well, it's not that bad. I actually kind of enjoy 35mm. So every time I'm bored of the format, this is the camera I go to, and I just develop 1 or 2 rolls, and I'm like, yeah, it's good. Like I can keep shooting 35. So yeah, if you have the chance of trying an M3 or you're looking for one, it's a great camera. It's really a great camera. I think you would use it and enjoy it more if you don't use glasses, because the 50mm frame lines, they are perfect if you look without glasses. But if you use glasses, you have to wiggle the viewfinder around to go to the edges, so it's not perfect. But hey, I've been using it for many years, and I wear glasses and it's fine, don't worry. This is a camera that I've only shot 1 roll through it, and I keep it only for sentimental reasons. I'm not sure it really, I mean, I know it works, but I'm not sure how good it works, because the results on the roll that I tried were horrible. So I have not shot another roll through it, but I just keep it because it's my mom's camera. When my mom got her first job, the first paycheck she got, she purchased this camera. So it has a sentimental value. It's a Voigtlander, and it's a foldable Voigtlander, so you can just do it like so and put it inside here, and you can technically put it on your pocket or just carry it around, and it's like a super compact camera. And then whenever you need to take a picture, you just open it and boom, there you go. You just, oh well. I need to add some grease to this because it's kind of stuck, but there you go. It has a nice viewfinder that you can use it as a waist level and focus like this, or you can use it on the side and shoot like so. So I don't know, man. I really like the design of this camera. It's super nice. It's the old Voigtlander, classic Voigtlander look. I should shoot one episode with this, or at least take another roll, or I could fix the lens. I could send it for a cleaning. I don't know, I'm gonna think about it, but yeah, this is over here for half decoration, half sentimental reasons. I can't get rid of this camera at all. Next up is the Canon 10. I have it with the Canon 50mm 1.8. I barely ever use this camera. I purchased it because I really wanted a body for the electronic Canon lenses that I have. I took it on vacations, and I trusted this camera, and I said, I'm gonna take all my vacation pictures with this one. And it wasn't such a good decision because the images were not really on focus all the time. Some of them were, some of them were not. So it's basically a gamble. This particular camera, this particular model, my camera, it's pretty much a gamble. So I don't use it that much. I don't use it much at all. It's basically in there, and it serves, right now, it's almost basically a holder for my digital lenses. Next up is the Zeiss Ikon 530/16. I purchased this camera because I had just bought the Mamiya 6, and I wanted to have a camera that had an 80mm 2.8, and this was my answer. This is a really cool camera. The problem is that the minimum focusing distance is not really up close, like it's more or less a medium shot. So you cannot take portraits with this guy. And the other thing is that in a 120 roll of film, it only takes 11 exposures. It doesn't take 12 like all the other ones, because the spacing between the images is a little bit bigger than what you're used to. So those two things are kind of a deal breaker for me. I don't use it as much, but every once in a while I'll put a roll of Tri-X or HP5 Plus and I push it to 3200, and this is my nocturnal camera. So I rather use this one than using the Riflex or the Mamiya at night, because the lens is as bright as the Riflex but is smaller, and it's a rangefinder. If somebody's wearing like a white t-shirt or something, you are focusing like nobody's business. It's really fast to do it, and it's super comfortable. So for night shots and things like that, this camera is my choice. I don't use it as much as I said, but I mean, look at this. It folds in such a small format, and it has such a nice bright lens. I wish you could take 12 pictures instead of 11, but I mean, it has a few downsides, as I said. As you know, this is my Bessa L. I have shot episodes with this camera. I made a comparison between this and the Lomo LC Wide, and I enjoy this camera a lot. I don't use it that much for the exact same reason I don't use that much the Lomo LC Wide, which is it's really cool to have a camera that has a wide angle lens, and the images from this lens in particular, this Voigtlander LER 15mm, these images look great, but it's a limited field of view. Should I sell one and keep the other, or should I sell both? Maybe, but at the same time, I really like that the Lomo LC Wide, you don't need to think about anything, you just grab the camera and take pictures, and it's like a fun experience. And with this, you can actually construct the image, take your time, decide the shutter speed, decide the aperture, and then decide what you want to expose correctly and what you want to overexpose or underexpose, and then take the image exactly how you want it. I really love that about this camera. So I think they serve different purposes, and that's why I have both of them and I haven't sell either of those. Yeah, I enjoy this camera. I like it a lot. It's a good street photography camera, but at the same time, and the same thing with the Lomo LC Wide, you gotta be up close, otherwise it makes no sense. Then another point and shoot camera, or I don't know if it's a point and shoot, but it's like a small camera. It's my Lomo LCA. I have used this camera a lot. I have used and abused this Lomo, and it resists every single time, and I like it a lot, and it's super fun to use. It's a fun camera to use. It's a good camera for your vacations, at least for my vacations. So if I want to take pictures and I want to really think about the things that I'm taking pictures of, I just want to put it in my pocket and I see something cool, oh, that's fine, and take a picture. This is the camera I'm looking for. I thought the Olympus MJU2 will serve that purpose, but to be honest, I think this camera serves that purpose. I don't really need autofocus. I can just see the distances, set it over here, take a picture and forget about it. So this is my perfect point and shoot. I really love this camera and it's super fun to use. Another camera that I barely ever use, but every time I use it, I enjoy it a lot, is this one. This is my Polaroid Impulse SE. I don't know, I love how it sounds. I love the looks of it. We purchased this camera with friend. We purchased in Germany when we were like completely broke, but we found it on a used market, on a flea market. And I don't know, we just clicked with this camera. The main use of this camera is to take pictures of our friends when they visit us. So we have some cartridges with pictures, and we have friends staying over, and after, well, like the day before they leave, or once they're about to leave and they're gonna go through the door and we're not gonna see them for a while, years maybe, or if we ever see them again, because you never know, we take an image. We usually take two pictures, one of them alone and one with us. And we give them the one with us, so they have a little present that's personal. We write the date, and we keep one image of our friends and we put it on the fridge or wherever we feel it's good to have it. So that's one thing that we do. I think to give away Polaroids, it's a really nice detail and people always appreciate it. Of course, the cartridges are super expensive, and every time you take a picture, it's like, you better make a really good picture with this because it's expensive. But at the same time, we don't use it to take amazing images, we use it to remember. This is my Speed Graflex 4x5 camera. I have it with this lens, which is Graflex Optar. It's 135mm f4.5. I have shot how many rolls with this? I have shot, not rolls, negatives. I have shot probably not that many, to be honest. Around 8 or 10 images. I have a whole fridge of 4x5 film that I need to go through. But I'm on an investigation phase, so I'm learning how to use the camera and just in the meantime having fun. I don't know, man, this is a really, really cool camera and I want to do something with this. I'm not quite sure what yet, but for this camera I also have this lens. This is a really beaten Dallmeyer Pentax. It's an, oh man.
Why don't you clean your lenses? This is so disgusting. Bleep, 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 bleep.
Shut up. This lens is in terrible condition. It has it has a lot of marks. It looks terrible. It's kind of hazy. It's not in good conditions at all, but I just wanted to use it for experimenting with the camera. The hollow mount was more expensive than the lens itself. This lens is kind of It's another kind of those super high-speed lenses that were not designed to be used handheld or with a camera like this, but with the time people realized this kind of lenses existed and started purchasing them. This is the Dalmayer Pentax 8 inches, and it's a 2.9 aperture. For a lens of this size, it's amazing. It functions pretty much like a 50mm 0.9. So it's a really, what is the right word? Open lens? Like you can shoot wide open and it looks like everything looks super creamy. I'm currently using more the lens that comes with the camera than this one, but I have this one in case I really want some super shallow depth of field kind of portrait. Lomo LCA 120. And it's I already shot an episode with this camera and give you my reviews, so you know what this is about. This camera is an amazing camera. It's not on my top 3 cameras because my Rolleiflex is in there. If I didn't have the Rolleiflex, this would be on my top 3 by far. It's super fun and easy to use. I enjoy it so much. It's really light. That's one thing that I'm so grateful for. It's amazingly light, so I can just put it on my backpack or just carry on my neck or my shoulder and I don't even feel it, so it's great for carrying around. The only thing that you need to keep in mind is that it has more or less the same problem that the Lomo LC Wide has and that the Bessa L has, which is that it's so wide that you need to be super up close to your subject in order for the image to look, you know, more interesting. Otherwise you're gonna have just wide shots of random things all the time. So this is one of those cameras where you have to be up close and with the subject in order to make the scene interesting. But if you can make that happen, this is an amazing camera. These are all the cameras that I have that are on my possession, and these are my cameras. I have some others that are not listed here. For example, the Canon EOS M that I'm using for recording, or the camera that I'm going to give it to my patrons this month. I already have the camera for next month for my patrons, so I have some others, but those don't belong to me. These are my cameras and this is all I have. Do I have too many? Yes, probably. As you can see, they're all different from one another. It's not minor differences, they're like actually key differences. Some of them are automatic, some of them are completely manual. Some of them are in different formats. I have some 120, 4x5, 35mm panoramic cameras. Every single one of these cameras serves a different purpose. But regardless, even though they serve different purposes, I tend to use more the same cameras over and over. I tend to use the Xpan, I tend to use the Rolleiflex, and I tend to use the Leica. And now I tend to use the Lomo LC Wide, the old Lomo LC 120. Those are the cameras that I use most of the time. So I don't know, I'm going through a 120 phase right now. There are moments in which I fall in love with 120 and I shoot almost exclusively 120, and then I go back to 35mm. So right now I'm 120. I don't know why. Maybe because it's just 12 shots and I'm done with the roll. With 35mm, I feel like 36 frames is just so many pictures, man. It takes me kind of a long time to finish our roll, basically because I'm super busy. So whenever I go outside, I'm able to take, like, if I'm really inspired, like 5 or 6 pictures. But I don't have the time to go outside and just waste rolls and rolls. That's not just an option anymore for me, at least not now. But now I'm on vacation, so that might come true again, and I might be able to shoot a lot more rolls. I don't know, I'll have to see. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you had fun watching all these cameras. I really love my cameras, and I don't know. I've never thought about making some kind of a tour of my cameras, but at the same time, a lot of you were asking, so here it is. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next week with another episode. And until then, just keep shooting, guys.